Okay, so good evening, everyone. So this session we're going to be looking at metrics. Highlights will be the velocity and the burn down chart. But I'll just make mention of the other metrics that we have, but mainly just focusing on velocity and burn down chart. Okay, so for this evening, we'll look at the meaning. What do we use them for? We'll look at the different types that we have that you can create or configure. We'll look at the benefits. Why do you need them? We'll look at some samples. We'll look at the location on Azure DevOps, how you can get them, and how we can generate them also. So we might be finishing up with kind of a workshop with each team sharing their screen and actually configuring their dashboard and all that, if that has not been done already. But with the session, I believe that by the time we get to configuring and all that, you'll have more understanding of what you see on the charts. Okay, so I just want us to just look at what metrics is. You know, when people talk about metrics, I think of ruler, I think of tape rules and all that, because that's what we grew up knowing. You know, the 10 centimeter, make 1 decimeter, you have, then they're all metrics and all that, but they're all source of measurement. Okay, so in simple laytime, metrics is just measurement or a standard that you use to um, measure or track or assess progress, know the length or the width of things, get specific and accuracy, so to say, if you can say that, look at performances and or quality. You know, when athletes are running, they say, oh, these ones are running 100 meters. They must have measured the field to ensure that they don't run more than 100 meters. And then you have the 200 meters and all that. It's all about measurement and so on and so forth. So simply, that's just what metrics is. And also when it comes to Agile, also there are metrics. Okay, so before I go into Agile, just to give an example of, you know, the simple metrics, the things you can measure. You know, let me go back to that first slide. We're talking about measuring standard or measurement or standard that you use to track or assess progress or performance. So in a business, let's assume in a sales business now, the sales number will be the metric that is being used to measure the success of whatsoever is being sold in a business. When it comes to school, you're looking at grades. The grade is the metric that is used to measure how well a student has done, you know, in a particular session or thereabout. When it comes to software, you're looking at the response time, you're looking at the error rate, how many bugs or so were raised, and all that determines how good or the quality, you know, of a product. So metrics really is just helping you to know how well something is doing, or if it needs to kind of improve. Another example we can use out there is if you have a fashion designer, you want to sew another, no matter how good they are, no matter how best they are. I don't know who is the best out there now in Nigeria and all that. Vicky James, you know that there's no way she sews for you without taking your, there's no way she can just look at you, buy a material and sews for you without taking your measurement. So it's all down to taking metrics, knowing the specifics in order for you to come out with the best, to improve things or to come out with the best, so to say. So that's just giving more explanation that I hope will help us when we go into the aspect of what Agile metrics is all about, which is really what we want to focus on tonight. Okay, so when we talk about metrics in the Agile way, we're just talking about the tools that you use to measure or to provide insight into the product that is being built, you know, to know the product life cycle or the service, because it's not just product alone that uses Agile now. We have services also that uses Agile now. So it's just to look at the product or the services development circle, the progress. How do we track the progress? How do we know we're progressing? How do we know we're performing well? You know, those are the things that your metrics helps you to know. It helps to give you, you know, insight into what you're doing. And if you're not, you know, doing as much as you can, that's when you sit down together, use the metrics to reflect, to make decisions, and then to improve. Oh, we're not doing as much as we should. Let's improve so that we can make the target and things like that. And mostly, most of your metrics are graphical representation. They are visual representation, you know, that displays all this progress we're talking about, all this effectiveness that you want to see in either the product, the team, or even the process that they are using. Your metrics are able to, you know, help you to see all that. So when we talk about, and you know, with it also, data-driven decisions can be made. Like I said, you can use your metrics. You can use your metrics during your retro. You can bring up your metrics up during the retro to say, oh, like the velocity will get there. Oh, this is what our velocity was the last time. It has, you know, kind of dropped this time around or increased this time around. So what are we doing? What is making what we're going or doing go up? It could be you have concrete reason. It could be because of capacity that you had to not finish what you had committed into sprint, but you have a matrix that is helping you to measure and track your progress that you can improve, you can put improvement in place. So it helps you to have that data-driven decision, you know, that helps you to continuously improve and deliver value to the customers. And so really what you're doing is you're tracking how well the team is doing and how the work is progressing at the same time. So it's looking at the team, it's looking at the progress of work, it's looking at the process that we're using to, you know, progress work also, and being able to use that now to improve what is being done. Okay, so what do we use the metrics for? You use it to visualize the projects. Like I said, it could help you to kind of forecast the timeline that you're able to finish based on some metrics that you will get maybe in your velocity. If your velocity is looking at, okay, so maybe we have roughly 900 story points to finish up the whole project. That is what has been estimated for it. And we're going at a pace of 50 story points, average of 50 story points every sprint. All you need to do is to take your 900 and divide by 50, isn't it? So know how many sprints you need to finish the project. So it helps you to visualize the sprint. It helps you to measure the amount of work that has been completed against the time that is available, you know, over a period of time. It helps you to measure what was planned against what was completed. So in a situation where we plan to do 50 story points, and at the end of the day we are completing 45 story points, you come together in a group in a meeting. Why didn't we complete the remaining 5? What was the reason and all that? You find the root cause, you put an improvement plan in place or action in place, you action that, and then you just get better as you go along. Remember that Agile is all about continuous improvement. That is one of the foundation, the key element of Agile, continuous improvement, and actually seeing that improvement as you're going along. And it also helps you to focus for future sprint. Like I said earlier on, if you look at the total number of story points you complete in a sprint, when you have full team capacity, when all your team members are available, it helps you to know that, okay, going to the next sprint, we should be able to do the same amount. Just like we discussed when we're looking at the capacity, that you're able to negotiate with your PO to say, oh, based on this capacity, we might be able to finish that or not. You got that number, the average velocity you're giving to your product owner to negotiate, you got it from the metrics. So it could help you also to forecast for future sprints on what can be done or what can't be done. Okay, and then it helps also the team it helps the team's deliverables also. So with your metrics, one of the metrics is the success of the sprint is one of your metrics. You can use it, you know, like I said earlier on, that a student's grade is a metric for how well the student has done. The success of your sprint goal also is also a metric to measure, oh, did we achieve, you know, what we committed to do? So we have that. You have the success of your sprint goal. You also have your Scrum chart, which is the, you know, the velocity and the sprint burn down that I said we're going to mainly focus on tonight. And then another metric which is not you can't find on your dashboard, but that is also so good, is the team's effectiveness. the time to the market. Did we meet the deadline? Earlier on, I was listening to Wealth when he was talking to you to say that, do you have a viable product? Is it a product whereby because you took so long doing it, even your competitors, they've released it already, they're using it. By the time you release it, you might not even get, kind of the audience or the customer you want on the product because somebody else has already released faster before you and they've had subscription. Everybody is on their, they have contracts with them already and all that. So those are the team's effective time to the market. What time did you get it? What is the return on investment? That was another thing he made mention of. So these are all metrics that you can use, to help the team, work better. The capital redeployment, like he said also, did you get the capital out of the money? Are you able to use it? Or the capital is buried in, the profit itself. You can't even get the capital out, talk less of the profit itself. So those are some of the things. And then your team's growth, also an improvement goes a long way. Is the team satisfied at the end of the project? What is their performance level? Are they still growing? Are they still on the develop? Have they developed? Are they high performing? All those things are the things you look at. And like I said, a very good place where you discuss all these things is your retro meeting. So your retro meeting should not be limited to what went well, what didn't go well, what can we improve? Yes, all those things, but we need a data-driven graphic representation, to help at times. Because some of the things you might be saying, the others might not see, but in a situation where you're able to use your metrics, to give you that information, it really goes a long way. When you're able to say, oh, this is the percentage of what was completed, this is the percentage of what was still active at the end of the sprint, and this is the percentage of what we didn't even touch, that we planned to do, that we didn't even touch. And the first thing you're looking at is to analyze what happened. So it's not about blaming anybody, but looking at investigating the root cause. So you can, like I said earlier on, you can have a good reason why those things were not done. It's just to know it and then to think going forward, if such things should happen in future sprints, what do we intend to do, to combat it so that we don't end up in the same situation. Again, those are some of the things that your metrics helps you, to be able to do. Now, I always tell people that the metrics is not a yardstick to blame the team. Is not a yardstick to beat the team. Oh, look at what you people did. You didn't even complete. You did just 59%. You did just, that is not what matters. And that is why I, for one, will advocate that the kind of metrics that goes to your stakeholders should be different from what goes to your team. So a burn down chart is not something I think stakeholders should see, because once they see that flat line and they are wondering, oh, what is the meaning of that flat line? And you explain that, oh, it looks as if nothing was being done, because that's what flat lines means. We will see some of them when we go into the chart and all that. And then in their head, they're thinking, oh, do you mean when for 4 days it's flat? That means they were not doing anything for 4 days. Hey, they might be doing something. It might be that they need to spike out a particular story, which other work that we need to do is dependent on. And now, when it comes to spike, you don't use story points. When it comes to spike, you use days. So if it's going to take us maybe 2-3 days to spike out that particular thing before, and it could be a technical spike, not something related to requirements. So you can't say something like, oh, why didn't the BAs find out the information first? Why were they doing that during this? It might not be the BAs. The BAs have written the story and all that. It could be a technical spike, like I said. It could be a technical architecture that needs to be put on the system before we need to do what we need to do. Build what needs to be built. And the developers just need to know that the system we have can also accommodate, these requirements that are coming. We need to build something on the system in order to accommodate that requirement that has come. And like I said, if they need to investigate, test that first, do a mock-up on the system to know how that works. It looks as if nothing is being done, but actually something, is being done and all that. So you have to be sensitive. What metrics go to the stakeholders? What metrics stays with the team? If the team sees that you don't want them to feel demoralized, and like I said, I've seen situations where stakeholders, project sponsors are querying the team and saying, oh, what are they doing? Why is this? Da, 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 da. And then I had to go in as even the delivery manager to defend. I went with the product because the product manager came to call me and I had to go and meet that project sponsor because the team just couldn't go and meet it. They were angry, they were demoralized. Why did they show them? Da, 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 da. You need to help your team to be in a psychological safe place. So know who gets the matrix goes a long way. So that's just quickly by the side for us as Scrum Masters to know that even though you're bringing this, a lot of Scrum Masters have shared the metrics where they shouldn't share it, and the team don't want it. They will tell them, "Oh, we don't want the metrics anymore," because it's bringing, like I said, it's bringing up things that it shouldn't bring up. And you being a Scrum Master, being on the project, you would understand why the metric is the way it is, but the people you're sharing it to are not part of the team. They were not there, not the stand up to know all the maybe blockers and all that. So they might not understand why that matrix is like that. And that's why you don't share things with them so that you don't start blaming your team. Remember, you're meant to be there to shield them from all those external things. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the burn down chart. So we're looking at sorry, let me see. I think there is a place where I'm trying to see if okay, good. So here I just want us to have a look at some of the metrics we have. The ones underlined, like I said, are the highlights. Those are the ones that we will really, really delve into. But you do have a burn down chart, you have burn up charts, they're all metrics in Scrum or Agile. You have the velocity chart, you have the cumulative flow diagram, you have the capacity chart, you have the work item chart, you have the sprint overview chart, the code chart, the pipeline chart, test plan chart. I think there's also a release chart on Azure DevOps. So those will be the technical ones that either the tech lead is using, to monitor or track the number of releases they've had in the quarter or things like that. So you have all those charts. But like I said, the burn down chart and the velocity chart are the ones that we're going to, they're the common ones. And so they're the ones that we're going to kind of focus on tonight. So we're looking at the burn down chart and what do we mean, when we say we have a burn down chart? What is a burn down chart? So a burn down chart is, again, is a graphical, as you can see, or visual representation that shows the work progress of a team. So it displays what has been completed against and what is remaining within the timeline that you have, within the timeline of the sprint, 10 days of the sprint. It shows that. And what you use it to do, use it to track the actual work that is being completed. So, and also to track what is remaining. So at a particular time in the sprint, you as a Scrum Master can go on it and check to say, hey, this is where we are. We have 2 days to finish and we're just 58, percent or 68% of work completed. You can use it to motivate your team members, to work better. It's not to put them under pressure. Don't put them under pressure with it. So in a friendly way, in a very creative and friendly way, you share it with them. This is, we're halfway gone in the sprint. Let's just quickly look at our chart. Or okay, saying we're 32 percent done is the mid of the sprint. We can still do it, encourage them, but you know what you're doing. They seeing that would know that, okay, we need to buckle up. Not buckle up in the situation where they're being pressured to rush through and then they start having mistakes and the Kiwis are raising bugs left and right because they didn't, calm down enough. Let me put it that way, to work properly and be creative in what they've done. So it is not meant to, we're not meant to use it to pressurize them to do what they need to do, but you can also show them during the sprint that this is where we are and this is where we, committed that we're going to. So it also helps you to know at a particular time during the sprint if the team are able to achieve the goal or not, based on the timeline. Like I said, if there's two days to go and we're at maybe 50% and all that, you look at the number of work remaining, and because your chart doesn't turn green or show green or add to your percentage completed rate until it has gotten to the last column, which is done. So even if the developer has finished, the QA has finished, if UAT is not done, it won't turn green until it gets to the last column, because it's following probably your definition of done, to say every checklist must be ticked, UAT must be done before we say, we categorize it as being done. Now, that could be in a situation where the BA is the one doing the UAT, you can have that. In a situation where the business, the project sponsor, or the product manager is the one doing the UAT. And these are people that are not part of your Scrum team, whereby you can just, in the meeting, call them to say, oh, they don't even come on your board and all that. Maybe the product owner would need to call them to do the UAT and all that. You can set your team charter in such a way that once the QA finish what they're doing and that is passed, UAT is outside of development, because the people that are doing the UAT are not part of the team, and it can take them a while, to do it. And when you have such things in place, you also have in place that when they find any bug and all that, it will be raised independently. It won't be raised on the story anymore. Remember that you've taken the story to done. So it won't be raised on the story anymore. It will be raised maybe either as a system bug, or it will come individually as a bug. But depending on how your team charter has been formed and agreed by you all as a team. Okay, so you can do that. But these are some of the uses of your burn down chart. Now, some of the benefits before I go into the components of a burn down chart to show you all the numbers, what they mean, what to use them for. Let's quickly look at the benefits of a burn down chart. It's very easy to read. By the time I go through all those components, all those elements on it and everything, you're able to understand that it's very, very easy to read. Like I said, it motivates your team members to focus and perform. Maybe they've been distracted. It will help them to focus and perform. And it's actually to maintain effective collaboration among the team members. In a situation like, let's use the example of when you have, if you have a flat gray line, if a flat, but the gray line is called the burn down line. If you have that gray line, and during stand up, we're looking at, so why are we having that line and everything? The team is able to collaborate. Oh, maybe we're dependent on another team to do one thing or the other before we can continue and all that. So you need either your ADM, you need your APM. The Scrum Master escalates to them, and they need to push, go out there and nudge or chase for those things to be done so that work can commence. So that's how you can use your chart also, to collaborate. And the person that checks the chart mostly really is you, the Scrum Master. You're the one that looks at it. Your developers are busy coding. They don't have time to check it. Your testers are busy testing. So the person that concentrates mainly on the charts, who generates it and concentrates mainly on it, is you, the Scrum Master. Also, the ADM or the APM can also look at it and have a word with you as a Scrum Master to say, okay, I've noticed this. Can you talk to the team and things like that? And then it helps, like I said earlier on, also to know that the deadline that we have, can we achieve it? So those are some of the benefits that you get from your burn down chart. Another benefit that is not there that you can get on it is you can also find out if anything has been added to the sprint apart from the things you've planned. And I'll show you where that can be seen on the chart. Okay, so let's look at the components of a burn down chart. At the top here, so this is a release burn down chart. You can see that it's not counting days, it's counting the sprints. So maybe it's looking at a quarter, okay, or half a year, depending on the time the release is, or that's what this chart is it? So you can see up there, it has been configured and it has been titled release burn down. So the date is always there also. So you'll be able to configure it to have the date also there. And then this shows you the completed rate. So it's showing you that for this one, it's saying that for this particular release, they've done 97% of what they've committed to concerning that release. And this charts, this burn down chart is a story points burn down chart. So we will get to that. We'll have other charts where we'll be able to see that. But by you having story points here, shows you that this is a story point burn down chart. And that was why I said if you understand the components or the elements on a chart, you find that it's so easy to read. Okay, so that's the date range that we're looking at that this chart is covering. And then it's saying that the average burn down is 30. So what your average burn down is saying is the pace at which work is being completed is your average, is what your average burn down is calculating. And Azure DevOps would calculate that for you. So you won't be the one configuring that. It will look at the rate at which the work has been put in sprint, is active. Your charts are real life. So anything happening on your board, your chart is picking it up and is showing, is displaying it on the chart. Okay. And then you could see here that it's even saying here that item not estimated. So it will be able to tell you the items that are estimated, the item not estimated. So as a Scrum Master, once you see 6 items not estimated, you're able to go on your board and check what are those 6 items that are not estimated. But remember that this is a release burn down. So you won't be able to go to all the releases to go and be checking, oh, where was it not burned down and things like that. But if it had been a sprint, you're able to go on the stories, you understand, and look at, oh, which one was not itemized, who is working on it, why weren't they itemized? There might be some of the ones that were brought into the sprint after the sprint has started that were not itemized, okay? And then, like I said, this one is calculating what is remaining. So over here is saying that story points remaining is 164. So those are that's the story points remaining for, that's the whole work that has been committed to this release burn down to be completed. And is over here is showing you the total scope increase. The total scope increase means this is the increase, the number of story points that had been added to the release. So after everything has been planned and all that, this is an extra that has been added to it. And maybe part of this, even it won't be part of this because this is showing you story points. So these 6 items not estimated is not part of either this 26 story point or the 164 story point. Okay. And one good thing about the charts, especially this one, is it tells you the projected time when it's been completed. So it's looking at how they've been working and it's saying for them to finish this, it's going to take one more iteration. But remember, they still have about 5 iterations to go, and it's telling them that they just need one more iteration to complete whatsoever is remaining. So these are some of the things you learn on. So this yellow line is your total scope line. The total scope line means the total, work that we're doing. And it's there also on the chart. You can see the yellow line shows your total scope, the gray line shows your burn down, and then this blue bar shows what is remaining. Okay, so you can see this gray line going up and down here. That is the burn down line. Every time a story is closed, that is the one that goes down. Anytime more story points are added, it goes up, it increases, and then the total scope also is calculating also. So this white space are the works that have been completed. Okay, but there is a way you can also configure it where you will see the green bar to show you what has been completed, and that's how we're going to do. So these are the components that you have for a burn down chart. These are the parts of a burn down chart that you have. Okay, so we're just going to look at some other ones, the ones that are sprint based, really. Okay, so like this one is a sprint based. You can see sprint 15 effort burn down. So this chart has been, configured using the effort, using the story points, okay, to configure this one. And is over here is saying that the effort remaining is 2. So you can see at the start, the first day the sprint started, they started burning work. So that was why I talked about not just leaving the blue. With me, I prefer to show the completed because it helps to motivate better. If you look at this one that is showing the green, showing the things that has been completed, and if you look at this one previously that is just showing what is remaining and not what is completed, I know that I'm not saying it's demoralizing, but I'd rather see also what has been completed, which is, like I said, this white space, and it helps to motivate more. So that's why I would rather configure my burn down to show the green also. Then it's more visual kind of graphical, that representation that you need to see. You can see there. So if we look at the date range is there, it said completed 95% completed, average burn down is 1. And then the story not itemized is 0. So that means every work item has been itemized, and there was a scope increase of 2. And it's saying that looking at the projected completion, it is 2 more days to go. So if they had had 2 more days, they would have been able to complete that project. Unfortunately, you can't extend your sprint. It's fixed. So once it's completed, that's what you have. So now this is, like I said, this is an effort burn down chart, and this is the PBI burn down chart. When we go on the dashboard, I'll show you how you can, create the 2 of them. So we're looking at the same sprint, okay? This is still the same sprint 15 for the same project. So while this is the effort, this is just the PBI. So this is just tracking the user stories, while this one is tracking the story point. And you can see that their completed percentage is different. While this is 95, this is just 50. And then the average burn down also, if you look at it, is different. This is 1, and then this is 0.4. And then another thing you need to look at is the projected completion. So it's saying here that 2 more days and you're complete for the story point, whereas here it's saying 6 more days you need to complete what needs to be done. And total scope increase here is 10. And then the product backlog item remaining for them to complete is 2. So you have different types of burn down charts that you can create depending on what you want to track and what you want to see. Now, this is another burn down chart. This is a task burn down chart, and that's why I've used the color for the task, to show that. So you can also create that. There are some teams that they focus more on their task than the user story. So for them, this would be kind of the burn down charts that you want to create for them. So this is the task burn down chart, and this is a bug burn down chart. Like I said, you can the QAs will be more interested in this because they want to know, okay, over the course of the sprint, how many bugs did we raise? How many was fixed and resolved at the end? You can see that at the end of the sprint, all the bugs that were raised were fixed. And you can see that at the start of sprint, there were no bugs because they started raising the bugs on the 4th day after the developers have started working. When they started testing, that's when they started raising the bugs, and they were fixing and they were closing as they go along. So you can create all these different charts, like I said, depending on what you're tracking. Okay. So we want to look at the velocity chart now. So what is your velocity chart? What are you looking at when you what are we talking about when we talk about velocity chart? What is it tracking? What is the uses for a velocity chart? And what do we need it for? Who needs it, and what do we need it for? Those are the things that we want to look at when we talk about our velocity chart. And then when we look at it, again, is a visual representation, is a graphical representation of it displays the team's planned work and the actual completed work. So not the work that I've started, but the work that was actually completed, That is what your velocity is tracking. So velocity talks about speed, isn't it? When I know this is not the velocity that we talk about when we talk about physics and all that, but it looks at the pace also. It's looking at what was planned, what did we plan, and what did we complete over a period of time. Okay, and it only, like I said, calculates what a story that is 100% completed. So if the developers have done what they need to do, the QAs have done what they need to do, UAT has not been done, it has not got into that completed column, your velocity won't pick it. Your velocity doesn't pick 95% completed or 85% completed. That story has to be 100% completed before the velocity picks it up to track. So now, what do we use the velocity chart for? We can use it to measure a team's completed work against what is planned. This was what we planned. This was what we completed, in a particular sprint. And then it measures also the team's performance, to scope increase. You planned a work, there was scope increase, during the sprint and all that. Were you able to complete everything? What was remaining? Was it the things that we put in that was remaining, the increase that was remaining, or part of the things that we were supposed to work on? Because you need to investigate the the work that is remaining, what are those things? And then it helps you to plan better when you go up, you go on into the subsequent sprints that you need to kind of work on. And then it tracks your workflow and the pace over a period of time. So when you are looking at your average velocity, your velocity has tracked the pace of the team over a period of time. Basically, standard wise, some will say after five sprints, that's when you can say that, oh, this definitely is the team's sustainable, pace or sustainable velocity, if I can put it that way. So it tracks the workflow and it tracks the pace over a period of time. Initially, when it started, it could be fluctuating and erratic, but over a period of time, it should be able to be kind of not balanced, but sustainable, so to say. And the team can actually use that to measure and forecast for the future sprints that they're going into. It measures how long it will take to complete a project. I think I explained that earlier when I was talking about the metrics, to say that if you had planned that, okay, the total story point being worked on is 90, and your velocity is telling you that your average velocity going forward is maybe 50, and then you're able to just divide that and said, okay, so that means it's going to take us so amount of sprints to finish this. And then the number of your sprint, if it's 2 weeks, times the number of sprints you have, will tell you maybe, oh, that means it's 6 months, that means it's 1 year, and all that, and being able to use that to track. So by the time you've planned that to say, okay, so that means maybe by November we should be able to finish this project. If at any particular point in time you look at your velocity and it's gone down beyond that 50 that you have used to plan, then you need as a team to come together to know what is going on. Why the drop? Why did we have the drop in our velocity? Okay, so these are some of the things that your metrics can help you to do. Like I said, it helps you to have, once you have the data, you're able to make data-driven decisions because of the data that you have. Okay, so some of the benefits of your velocity chart is, again, your charts are always easy to read. Once you understand them, they are very easy to read. And then it helps you to improve your performance. Like I said earlier on, the team are able to improve their performance in a situation where there's first, second, and third sprint, you're able to complete 50 story points, if that is what you're using to track, your performance and your pace. And then if it drops at any particular sprint, you should be able to investigate to know why you have that drop, so that you can put proper plan in place in order for you to go back to that sustainable 50 story points that you have been able to carry across kind of 3 sprints. And then it helps you to forecast the number of stories that can be delivered in future sprints. Like I said, when you have your capacity and all that, when you have your velocity, your average velocity, if it is 50 and all that, and then 50, you're looking at, 50 at a full availability. You would know that if you're going into a sprint where half of the people have gone on summer holiday, you can't take 50 in. So if half of the people are not in, that means half of the story point for that sprint also has to drop. But remember, if you don't have an average velocity or you don't have a matrix to pick that from, you'll be overcommitting for work that needs to be done. Okay, so it helps you to plan for future sprints and then helps the team to know also the effort that they can commit into the future sprints. I explained all that while we're doing capacity planning, and I'd also explained it earlier on. It helps you to plan how many story points can we take in. The PO wants us to take this number, but with our capacity and our average velocity, we can only take this, or we can take the full, or we can't take more than this. So it helps you to put that measure in place in order to plan for work that you want to do in subsequent or future sprint, and then helps you to negotiate scope increase during the sprint. I talked about this during the capacity planning also, where I said that if during the sprint, and that's why your chart, your metrics, you as a Scrum Master, you're monitoring it throughout. So let's assume that we started the whole work with 50 story points, and that is what we can commit to. And then during the sprint, the product owner comes, oh, these are critical, we need to work on it, and is bringing in something like maybe 16 story points. So that is going to end us in 66. And we know we can only commit to 50. So that's where that negotiation comes in. to say that, oh, we can only complete 50. So we understand that this 16 you're bringing in takes priority even over the goals that we have. Maybe there's an issue on prod, and then they need to be dealt with. So we're negotiating with the product owner to say, what are those low priority ones that you don't mind us completing or carrying over to the next sprint in order for us to accommodate this 16 that you've brought in, so that you don't overwhelm the team with work on the board. Okay, whereby again, it's all about not putting them under pressure so that they can give their best. Remember, you need to be able to give them a conducive environment for them to be able to work in. So there are some things that we need to note when it comes to the velocity chart. Okay, so you can only use information on your velocity chart to forecast when your team composition remains constant. So if you are saying, oh, we did 50 last sprint, 50 story point last sprint, so we're going to take 50 story point into this week, do you have the same capacity as last sprint? So if last sprint you had less capacity, or you have full capacity and you took 50 in, if this sprint that you're going into, you have less capacity, you can't take 50 in. So you need to negotiate that. So that's one of the things you need to consider when you're using your velocity chart to make decision. Another thing is that you can only use your PBI or that's your product, your user story, or your effort to forecast for your velocity. You can't use a task velocity or a bug velocity to forecast, because the tasks are different. So what a task raised with manual will do will be different from what a task raised with automation will do. For your manual, you might be able to say, oh, I can finish that within 2 hours, while your velocity might take maybe 6 hours. A developer might be able to do one task maybe within the next 30 minutes, 1 hour, and another task will take him maybe 2 days. So you can't use a task velocity to forecast because of the different weights. You understand that the tasks are carrying and different people that are working on it. Okay, so because you are using your PBI and your story points, because that is where your remember, that is where your user stories are, and is a unanimous agreement for the task that we have on it, which the story points you have on it, which we all agreed on during the estimation time during sprint planning. So when we have a 5 or a 6 on it, is a unified story point that has been put on, that includes both the developers' effort and the tester's efforts, while on the task is different people's efforts that are on it. So you can't use it to forecast for future sprints that you have. And then work is considered planned on a velocity chart when it is committed to the sprint at the sprint start date. So let's assume this Friday is the sprint start date, and we've done our sprint planning and all that. If you do not move all those user stories into the sprint on the sprint start date on this Friday, if it turns 11:59 p.m. and goes into 12, your velocity won't display a planned bar, because it's no longer falling on the sprint start date. So once you want it to show, there's nothing like, oh, I'll just move all the stories tomorrow and all that. You won't have a planned bar. It won't show you the planned bar. It will just show you the work that is being carried out. So these are some of the things we need to consider when we're using our velocity. Okay, so I'll be able to use that to explain. So this again is a commerce velocity. That's what they're calling this velocity, and it's tracking the last 8 iterations, which you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the average velocity for this team is 39. So what that 39 means is at every point when they go into the sprint, if they are going into sprint 105 now, what he's telling them is don't take more than 39 story points. Based on all these calculations it has made, you can't take more than 39 story points. That is what this chart is telling them. And you can see that here is where we're counting the points. And then here is where you have all the sprints. Again, you can see that this one is another release velocity and not a sprint velocity. No, it's the normal velocity because your velocity looks at different sprints. What was planned during the sprint is the light blue one, and what is completed is the dark green, and what is completed late is the light green. And when you have the blue anyway, is work that is not completed. Okay, so again, so very easy to read. And what you as a Scrum Master need to focus on is, let me use this to explain. So over here in Sprint 97, they committed maybe roughly, let's just say 49, and they were able to do maybe 45. So we're going into the next sprint. That should tell us that we should be planning 45 that we were able to complete there and not go beyond that. Because you can see that for this place, this was what we're able to complete. However, remember that you need to consider the capacity, the availability. Probably while they were working here in the 97 sprint, they didn't have completed team members. Some are on holiday or things like that, and they felt everybody is back now. Let's just opt it up a bit in the next sprint. And you can see that they were able to complete, even though they completed some late, but they were able to complete everything they took into that sprint. So over here is still okay, still maintaining the same tempo to say, hey, you know what, let's take things so far. And they completed everything late, but at least they completed late, and there was some scope increase because you can see that completed late bar is a bit higher than the planned one. And then when you come to sprint 11, they took it up a bit. And then they increased their completion also, but not everything that they worked on. And I think going to sprint 101 was just, should I say, over ambition by planning this much, if this was what was completed here. And you can see that they didn't do much in that sprint. And even if they didn't do much in that sprint, the next sprint they still took it probably based on what they've done in the past. That's why they took it higher there and all that. But overall, the velocity is not telling them with the way things are for the last 8 sprints, the next time they take walking, it should be 39. So what it's telling them is they should bring it low to this level. And if you look at it, it might be to the level of maybe the dark green one is what he wants them to do in the next sprint, in order for them to find their pace again and be able to sustain it as they go along. So initially for the first 3 sprints they were able to sustain. And then after that, sprint 11 and sprint 100 and sprint 101, they just went kind of a bit overbar, but they brought it down again in 102, maybe when they saw their performance. And then you could see that they did a bit more, but they didn't take the next one up, maybe because people are on holiday, so they planned less and all that. So these are some of the things you want to do. You want to ensure that your team is using the average velocity as a baseline at every point in time when they go into the sprint that they are working on. And then we're just going to see the different velocity. So this, like I said, the other one I showed us and I explained was for a really a commerce velocity. So this is for an effort velocity, and then this one is for this is the story point one, and this is the user story one. So for your velocity also, you can have different types of velocity. Like I said earlier on, depending on what the team is tracking. So if your team is tracking work with the story point, and then that means you need to create an effort velocity. If your team is not using velocity, they don't understand they don't understand story point, or they are not working with story point and all that, then you're using the user story. You're being able to say that this is the average number of user story we want to take into the sprint to work on, or the average number of story points that we want to take into the sprints to work on. Okay, so those are the different types. I've used the previous one to explain how you can help the team to balance things, but the most important thing is the chart itself is giving you your average velocity. Just help them to keep within that average velocity and to work within that average velocity. It's very tough to make team do that, but you can use that to negotiate and protect them from the product owner, and also make them realize that let's work. It's even better to work with the baseline, and then if we know that, oh, we still have capacity and we finish what we committed into sprint, we can talk to the PO and bring maybe more work in, but work that we know that we will be able to finish at the end of the sprint. We don't want to bring more work in and then we're carrying it over. Then it defeats the purpose of a sprint, because at a sprint you're looking at what are we going to achieve, commit to what we can achieve at the end of the sprint. Even though at times you'll have, real times you have work going over, but that is how we want to plan going forward. Okay, so those are your the charts we'll be looking at. So when it comes to the location of the charts on Azure DevOps, you have your charts on the dashboard. You have multiple charts that you can configure on your chart, but on your dashboard, and then on your backlog also, that's your main backlog also. When you go into the analytics also, you can configure you can see your velocity there. When you go on your sprint board, on your sprint backlog, and the analytics also, you can see your sprint burn down, which we will check now if we go on the board. Okay, and the source for all these widgets that are used for the chart is from the dashboard or marketplace. At times, if your organization has not installed them, you can go into the marketplace extension to get them. But most organizations have them already, because they don't want you going there to kind of bring things in, because it could be costs. There might be cost implication to them, so they already put what they feel you need onto the dashboard already. The widgets are there. It's just for you to configure them and then to use them for what you want to track. Okay, so that would be the end of the session before we go into the workshop, where I expect everything to share their project board, and then we will try and create all those and configure. And if you've done it already, I'll just check to ensure that what you've configured already is the right way. And then with what we've just discussed tonight, you can run me through what you think your project is. You've got so good, you are in the middle of a sprint right now. We can check what you have on your board already, if that's okay. Any question first before we do that? Any question from anyone? Okay, so which team wants to share their board first, so that I can check what you have on your dashboard, and if you don't have anything, we can configure. Anybody? We'll
Hi,
share.
Moji. Good evening.
Good evening, Asoreme.
Yeah, Ojali, you can go. We did a couple of things in there, so she can
Okay.
check. Thank you. Ojali, are you there?
So hello, whosoever is sharing the screenshot, please do it. Nobody wants to
If
share
she's
their
not
screen.
there, can I share for Fusion?
Yes, please. Yes, anybody can share, please.
So go to the dashboard here. Here is Fusion bundle. So
Okay.
far. And here is their burn-up chart.
Okay. So you're creating if you check where the remaining items, work items are, you can see that it's showing you 30. Did you
Yes.
take 30 work items into the sprint during sprint planning?
No, it's not up to that.
Okay, so that's the number one way you would know that there's something wrong. Is either it has not been configured properly. So
Okay.
what your chart is showing your backlog. It's showing every work item that has been created, which is in the backlog.
On the
It's not
okay.
showing what is in the sprint. So if you click on the ellipsis, we can correct that.
Okay.
So click on configure. Okay, and then if you go down to where you have work items, you can see that it's showing you the backlog. But
Backlog
what,
item, yeah.
yeah, what we want to enable is the one at the bottom that says work item type, and then
Yeah.
now go to the drop down, go to the drop down and scroll all the way down to pick user story. Or PBI, okay, product backlog item. Yours doesn't, okay, yeah. And then scroll down, okay? So we're going to um pick the sprint we're in. So where you have add criteria, click on that and then select iteration in the drop down, select iteration paths.
So iteration one.
Path. No. Just scroll
Oh,
down to iteration path. Okay, is there? Pick iteration path. Okay, where you have value, go and pick sprint one.
okay.
Okay, so you can see that from 30 it has dropped to 18.
So
So
18
that was
years.
exactly what you took into the sprint.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think your project, when did the sprint start? What's your start date and end date?
End date is on the 14th. They started
When did they
school
start?
on the first.
Tuesday. And you're
Yes.
doing 2 weeks, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go and configure that date because the date you have is not the right date.
Okay.
So if you
So hold
take your
on, let me
calendar
get
away,
0107 to 1407.
you can see that it's counting from June. So where you have the date, start date would be 1st of July, is it?
Yes, 1st of
Okay.
July.
So take it to the 1st of July and then
Okay.
go to where your end date is. Scroll down to where your end date is, which is the 14th, you say, isn't it?
Yes.
So pick the 14th. Okay, so that's your chart. That's the way your chart is meant to look. And then click on the third one in the advanced that says show completed work. Because you want at the bottom where you have advanced feature.
Yes.
Or click the one that says enable the one that says show completed work. Not that one, not that one.
All right.
The
So,
third one.
yeah.
Okay, and then save it. So that when any work is completed and taken to the done column, that
Yeah.
one you will start seeing the green as you saw in the slides that I shared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what you've put it there now that you want to be seeing the remaining, the completed, the bundle, and the total scope. So that's your PBI product backlog item bundle. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you can create if you want another one to just track the effort, you can also do that one. So for the burn up, I wouldn't advise you to do the burn up. The burn up you use mainly when you have so the difference between the burn down and the burn up is just the burn down burns from the top, like you see, all the way
Yeah.
to the bottom, while
Yeah.
the burn up burns from the bottom all the way
Up
to the
to the
top.
top. But I
Yeah,
need
just
to
that's
change the
that's
date
just
for
it.
this one because the date is still not okay.
Yeah, the date is not okay, and you won't see anything burn. It will be like the way it is right now. Because like I said, for burn up, you have to have um burn something before it starts burning, from the bottom all the way to the top. But if you want it there, that's fine, that's no problem. Just do the same configuration we did with this other one to it. So go to the three dots. Again, it's been configured to do
It's
the
also on back.
backlog instead of work item. So change it to that. Pick the PBI. Okay, let's go and do that criteria. Add criteria to it. Add criteria at the top, yeah. Iteration path. Okay, pick your sprint 1 in the value. And then the date, change the date, 1st of July.
Show remaining work.
Yes. So you'll see that if you close it, it's the same as the other one.
Yeah.
So by the time work starts burning, if you want to know the difference, you just see that what this one is burning from the top down, this
Yeah.
one will be forming from the bottom up.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the
So
difference between
if
them.
I want to create the burn down effort.
With effort. So go to edit at the top. Yeah, go to edit. Pick the burn down again, the
That
third
one.
one. Yeah, click on it, add it, and then done editing. At the top where you have editing, just do done editing at the top.
Okay.
Okay, and then scroll down. It will be at the bottom. So every time you add new
Okay,
widget,
it
it goes to
goes
the
down.
bottom. Yeah. Okay, so just do the configure.
Then I can write burn down effort here, right?
You can put effort burn down
Yeah.
in front. Yeah. The other one also, you can go and put PBI burn down so that,
Yeah.
but
That's
later on, yeah. So change it again to user story because your efforts are on your user stories.
so now.
Okay, so that's where you will change. Very good. That's good. That was what I was looking for to see if you will get it. So
What
now
was
you
it?
want it to burn. No. You did the right thing there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where you have the burn down, what do you want to see? What do you want to track? Your story point. So if you click on that, pick some, and then go to the other one. Some of what should you pick?
Effort.
Effort. Good. Because that's what you want to track. Then don't forget your date.
And then I'm not sure
Show the
what.
completed one also. Just show the completed
Okay.
one. So you can see that the effort is 23. It's
Yeah.
different from your other one that says 18. So that one is counting the number of work items you put in the sprint, while this one is looking at the total effort that has been taken into the sprint.
Okay. Okay. So another question, Moji, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
So does it mean that when they go to sprint 2, these things will have to be done again?
Yeah, you have to change it.
Okay.
However, there is a burn down, sprint burn down
Yeah,
that you can set that does the,
that will be
if you set it
carried.
at current saturation, it will be changing with real time. That one is there also. Let's put that one on your board also. So if you go back to edit, okay, scroll down, you will see this. It says sprint burn down.
That's
And I'll
it.
show you. I'll tell you the difference between the two. Yeah, that one. Pick it. Add and then done editing. Okay, so the good thing about I'll tell you the difference between the two of them. Scroll up a bit. Okay, you know what? Do edit again for me. I want to put them side by side. And then close where you have the project setting. Close that arrow in front of the project setting to give us more space. come to your left. Just keep coming to your left where you have project setting at the bottom. There are 2 arrows beside it. No. Go back to your left. Your left. Don't
Yeah.
go to the top. At the bottom. At the bottom.
All right.
Those 2 arrows. Yeah, close
Mm.
it. Okay, good. Now, drag that one that we've just created to come beside the one we've done before so that we can compare easily. Yeah, let it stand beside. No, don't let it go. Oh, it's going to go up because there's nothing at the top of it.
Okay. Hang on. Oh, hang
Don't
on.
worry.
Let me
It's
see.
just.
I can. No. Velocity is here, so that's why. But if I bring it up here, it will be easy to see both of them, won't it? Like
Yeah,
this.
but I'm looking at it needs, I think it needs 3 tiles instead of 2 tiles. But if you move your velocity, let's see. Yeah, good. See, you're an architect. You see how you built that house now.
So how do I close
All right,
this?
done editing. Just do done editing. Need to close it. Good. Okay, so what we want to do now, for this one that we've created, let's do the configure.
Yes.
You can see this one is picking your date already without you putting the date in. You can see
Oh, yeah.
that under the, yeah. So this one does the real time one, and is tracking task. So we need to change it to for
So
it
this
to
one will
track.
track from sprint one to end of sprint.
Yeah, no. It's start, yeah, from your, you can see that it's picked your um 1st of July to 14th. You didn't have to put that in. It picks it
Yeah.
immediately. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's okay. So where you have the task, open that drop down where your cursor is.
Task backlog.
Yeah, we don't want the backlog. We want the PBI. So scroll until you find the PBI. No, that's the backlog for PBI that you're picking on. Yeah, we're coming to the work item. So pick yeah, click on that one. Okay, you can see that it's showing you,
Yeah.
and then count of work items. Yeah, if it is not the effort you want to pick, if it is effort also, you will change it there the way we changed the other one. So it will be sum of efforts if that's what you want to click. You can see it's 1313. And then at current iteration, leave it at that. If you leave it at current iteration, what you're telling it is every time is at the
Yeah.
it should display at the current iteration. That's what
Yeah.
you're telling it to do. So let's scroll down and just look at the advanced features. Um, there's nothing for us to do there because this one doesn't show green. That's
Yeah.
the difference. So if you save it, okay. So I'll tell you the difference between the two. So the one we just done, the sprint burn down, yeah, it looks like a block.
Yeah.
So it's very, very difficult at times when work starts getting completed, which you will notice later on when your work starts getting completed. It's very difficult to track the work. So it's burning down, but because it's like a block, you can't see it at times. But the one with the bar, by the time work is completed, you start seeing the green immediately.
Yeah.
So it motivates more. However, another good thing about the sprint border, you see that green line, that green dotted line all through,
Yeah.
that's the capacity. So this one tracks both the what is burning down and the capacity burning down. So at the start of your sprint, it will tell you the total capacity for the team.
Okay.
If you go to the top where yeah, you're able to see that the total capacity when
One.
you started
Yeah.
was 156. And then if you go to where you are now, today is the 11th. So if you go to 11, you can see that it has dropped.
Yeah.
So it will keep dropping as you go along. And anybody looking at this chart will say, oh, you people have so much capacity, but you've taken in so little work when you have 150 something
6.
capacity and you've
Yeah.
just taken in 23 efforts. But it's understandable because you're just starting, you're just finding your level, it's your first
Yes.
sprint, it's understandable and all that. So that's one good thing about this one. You're able to look at both the capacity, the work that is being done, and the capacity, and then it helps you to know. The closer the work you're being done is the closer your work, the work you've taken in or the effort you've taken in to your capacity is a good one. When it's too far like this, then it looks as if, oh, you have a lot of capacity, but you're taking in too little work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank
that's the
you.
good one. So you can be using both, like I said, it's your the dashboard is just to monitor, whatever is being done and all that.
Yeah. Then how about the hang on, let me see what I'm looking for. Backlog analytics.
Yeah. So if you go there, that one will show you the velocity. I said it to show you that's the velocity beside it.
Yeah.
So if you click on the velocity to bring it up. See, the same thing you have on your dashboard that you configured on your dashboard is also here. So
Okay.
those are the two places where you can see your velocity, either on the main board under the analytics or on your dashboard because you've configured it there.
Okay.
Or if you go to there for the burn down one, you will see that other burn down that looks like a blog is what you will see on the
Yeah.
sprint board. So if you go on your sprint board now, it has analytics also. You'll be able to see the sprint one there.
All right. Same
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
but it's not here. You need to configure it because you can see that it's not showing anything. So if you just scroll up, there's some things at the top. See that is picking the task backlog. That's why it's not picking the right thing. So you need to um change it to PBI at the bottom, and then yeah, it should be able to show you now what is. If you want to change it to, yeah. So for this one, is tracking not your, it's tracking your PBI, not your effort. So if you want it to
Yes.
track the effort, just go to burn down, click on the drop down there, and change it to sum of effort, and then it's tracking your effort now.
Show remaining capacity at start date now. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see that it's the same thing as what you have on
Yeah.
the dashboard.
Thank you. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Ojali, I hope you've seen what um Emilia
Emilia.
did. Do you want to share your screen to do
If you can
yours
share your
also?
screen, please. Yeah.
Hang on, let me stop sharing.
Okay, let me share. I'll share my screen.
Okay,
I've got a noisy background though, but yeah.
that's fine. So I think with you also, you've done the backlog items instead of the.
Okay, I'm trying to share, but it's not letting me share. It said
You're
disabled
sharing your
share.
screen.
Oh, am I?
Yes, now.
I'm,
Text
I'm
him,
Oh no,
Abby.
sharing
that's
already.
Ojale. I think it's Ojale.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
Okay, yeah.
okay. All right. So let's go to where you have your dots. Your board needs to be fuller than this, oh.
Okay, let me increase it.
No, 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 no. I mean, your dashboard has to be filled with charts more than this. That's what I meant. You
Okay,
have just 3 charts on it, but that's no problem.
so configure, right?
Okay, configure, yes.
Okay,
Okay, so what burn down do you want it to be? You want this one to be the PBI one, yeah?
yes.
So in your title, just put PBI in front of your burn down.
Okay,
In front of it, not at the back of it, in front.
PBI,
No, in
PBI gone
front of
down.
it.
Okay, in front, PBI.
And then just spaces, that's it.
Okay,
And then now, so go to where you have work items. Instead of backlog, pick the work items. So you need to enable it first. Where you have the 0 in front of it. No, close that one. Close that one. Just click out. Where you have a like a
this.
dot in front of work item. Yeah, enable it. Not the bug. Oh yeah, that one. Yes, click on it. Good.
Okay,
Now click on the drop down and pick PBI. Okay, so click on the add criteria.
This one.
Yes.
Okay.
And then from the drop down, pick iteration path. And then from the value, don't do anything to that. From the value, pick your sprint 1. Okay, and then go to your date. I think your date is set there already anyway.
The value, can you pick sprint 1, please?
It's picked
Yeah, I've
it
done
already.
that.
She's picked it already.
This sprint 1.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's fine. And then your date is picked already because I can see
Yes.
in the chart 01 July to 14th. So
Yes.
that's done already. So that's so you committed 8 stories into the sprint, isn't it?
Yes.
Maybe 7, and then you added the one has been added mid-sprint to it. Okay, so you can also save it at the bottom. Just save it. Okay, so go to edit. Let's add an effort burn down. So pick the same one again.
This one.
Yes, click on it. Add it. And then yeah, done editing.
Done editing. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, configure. Let's see if you can remember what you need to do to configure it. So put effort in front of the burn down.
Okay. I don't know. Activate this. Let's see. Not sure what to pick here now. We're working on this
PBI,
story
because your
points.
effort is on the PBI.
Okay.
Okay, so your criteria.
Titration path.
Mhm.
Value. Sprint 1.
Yep. And then you need to set your date. Okay, so yeah, change it there also. Instead of count of work item,
Start dates. July 1st.
July 1st, yes, to
Okay.
14th.
What about this?
Yeah, change it. Sum of effort is what you need there.
Sum of efforts. Okay.
Okay, then
Save.
no. You need to set your end date because you've set the
Oh,
start date, but you didn't set the end
okay.
date to 14th.
Mm,
And then go to the bottom. No, don't do anything there. Just say show completed work so that when work starts getting completed, it will show.
okay.
Okay, save.
Mm,
Okay, so your effort is 26. So that's one for your PBI and your effort. Okay, so let's
okay.
do the other one that at the sprint it will be there. So if you go back to edit. Okay, scroll down to where you get the widget that says sprint burn down.
Print bundle.
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Sprint burn down. Click on it, add it. Okay, done editing. Right, let's
We go it
configure
again.
that also. Yes.
So what title should I
Depending on what do you want to track with it, PBI or effort.
PBI.
Okay, so remove all those detecting here. Just put PBI, sprint burn down. Just put PBI in front, good. And then come down to where you have the task backlog there. Just open that drop down and pick PBI, not PBI backlog, task backlog. Yeah, so that's it at your current iteration. Because this one
Okay.
is picking the real time for everything already. So you can just save it.
Okay.
So from the one at the top, let me show you something. The bar one at the top, if you scroll up, I noticed when there was an increase in your PBI. Yeah,
Yes.
the first
Yes.
one, you can see that the increase is so visible.
This one here.
No, that's for your efforts. If you go to the
Okay,
first
this
one,
one here.
yeah, can you see that is very visible there? Okay, go to that
Yes.
one, that block one now.
Which
The
one?
block one, the one you just created, the sprint burn down. You can see that it's very hard for you to find that bump on it.
Yes.
If you're not careful, that's why I prefer the bar one. But like I said, this one has its own merits or its own um good part
Advantage.
also, which would be showing you the your capacity with what has been committed into sprint.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the good things. And then looking at your board, I know that you've not set your sprint goal. What's the sprint goal? When you
The
were doing
sprint
sprint
goal.
planning, yeah, you didn't set it on your sprint board because you can see the widget for sprint goal is showing no sprint goal set yet. Scroll down, you see it.
Okay.
Scroll down. Did you see the sprint goal widget? It says no goal set. So
Okay,
that
this
means
one.
on your sprint board, there was no goal. You didn't set any goal at your sprint board. So if you want your sprint goal to show on this widget, you need to go to your sprint board. So what
Okay.
was the goal when they had the sprint planning?
The product backlog that we're working on are the ones that have to do with the static features.
Is that what you're working on? Is that what the PO said the sprint goal should be? Your
Yes.
sprint one goal should be.
Yes.
Then it's not
Yes.
been recorded on your sprint board. Go to your sprint board.
Okay. Mhm. I click the right thing.
Yeah,
Awesome.
open it at the bottom. That's why it's not showing. Just open it at the bottom. Those two arrows at the bottom. No. That left panel at the bottom. There's a tiny panel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, let's open it up, okay?
Okay.
So go to where's your okay, that's your goal. Click on the goal. See, it hasn't been recorded. You didn't record any goals there. That's why we can't see it on the dashboard also.
Okay, so we'll have to work on this one.
Yeah, so check with the BA. Ask your BA what is the sprint goal. When they tell you, put it in where you have that goal for the sprint, that field.
Okay.
And once you put it there, you now click on show sprint goal in tab label. That one at the bottom.
Okay.
And then you save. If you don't save, it won't still show.
This one.
Yeah.
No screen
Just
code in
click
tab
it on
here.
now. Hopefully. But because there's nothing there yet, so save it for now. And then when she tells you, save it. Did you want to save it at the top of where they put go for the sprint? There is save and set in there. Just click on the save.
I'm looking for it
On your left, come to your left, as
this
if you
way.
want to put, then come down where you are. Just come down,
Okay, okay, I'm seeing it now.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so you've saved that tab thing, but there's no goal in there yet. Don't forget, yeah?
Okay.
So once she tells you what the goal is, you're putting it in that field at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you're going to put it and save it again once
Okay.
she's told you.
If there are details, we'll also capture them here.
Details
Or
will
just
just be
okay.
your goal should be in summary. If you now want
Okay.
to explain what that goal is what you put in the details. So most people don't use the detail because it doesn't show anywhere.
Okay. So
Most
after
times
that,
it's
I'll now
just
save
maybe
again.
if you need to, yeah. So it's
Okay.
just the goal that you need. Maybe your goal, your sprint goal is complete homepage or work on homepage or whatever and everything. She will tell
Okay.
you what the product owner has told her that this goal should be. That's what you want to put in that field.
Okay. That is for this print we're working on.
Yeah, for the
Okay.
sprint one that you're working on. Every
Okay.
sprint, once you create your sprint board, you put the goal for the sprint
Oh,
in.
okay. That's better. Yeah.
Ojali, is it not best if you just type it in that the goal for sprint one is to complete all the PBIs with static.
That's too long. That's why I said talk to the BA. There's a way the product
Yeah,
owner
they
has
actually
told
did.
her.
They told us this evening.
So if they told you, then it will be complete static. You can't say don't write all those long.
Uh,
Just say complete static. It's a summary. That's why I said
yeah,
that
to
place is just a
complete all
summary.
static PBIs. Finish.
Or you can say complete all static features.
Features, yeah.
Will be better.
Yeah.
So save it again now.
Yeah, that's it.
If you close it now, go to your task board. It will show your goals will start showing at the top. Go to your task board. You can see now that is even showing already.
Yes.
Now, if you go to your dashboard now, you will see it inside that sprint goal widget. So your dashboard is the blue one. The blue one at the top. The blue one, blue. The one that has overview.
Sorry, I'm looking overview.
Yeah, click on that
I
and
was
then go to
wondering where it's started
dashboard.
to.
Scroll down to where you have your widgets. Okay, see now
Okay,
that is
it's
there.
showing up.
Yeah. Okay, Emilia, you have your hands up.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The effort burn down, right?
Yes.
Is this something as a PBI burn down? Or I think I've got it mixed up.
No, your PBI is counting the number of user stories that you've taken into the sprint, while your effort is counting the sum of story points, the total of story points
Can I come
on
up
those
again with my
PBI.
screen if Ojali
Yes,
is
please.
done?
Ajali, are you okay now?
Yes, I'm okay now.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks there.
You're welcome.
You know, like here, I have put
Mm-hmm.
sprint one burn down, right?
Yeah.
Which is checking the stories
Yes.
that we have
So
put in.
if you want to put it properly, just do sprint one PBI burn down.
Okay.
Okay, so that helps you and the other person to know what exactly is being tracked with that.
Yes. And I can also do sprint one PBI burn up.
Burn up, yes.
And that's all I need
The
there.
one for the effort, yeah, you can, if you want to put sprint one in front of that one, also fine.
Yeah. But this one goes along.
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
is already put his own thing there. So
Yeah.
actually, he's just saying sprint burn down. He's not saying the exact sprint, but because he's at the current sprint, you know the sprint you're in. You will know
Yes.
is that sprint you're in is what is showing you.
Yes. And when they go into sprint two,
It
all these need
automatically
to
no, the only one that would automatically is the
go
one
is the
the
is
one at the
this one.
bottom, the
This
sprint
one.
burn down. Yeah, that
Yeah.
one, because we've set it
Others,
at current iteration. The others you'll have to update them.
I have to update them.
Yes,
All
you
right.
change
So
the title, leave every other thing. The only thing you will change is the title.
yeah,
Change the sprint
the
from sprint
dates.
one to sprint two,
Yeah.
and then change the dates. Those are the three things you will change.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay. I thank you so much, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to send me chat and I should be able to answer. But I think it's straightforward enough. Yep. So now I believe everybody can read the chart and all that. You know how to configure your chart. You know what your chart is, what is tracking. And like I said, it's just because for now nothing has been completed. But once you start seeing work completed, you will have a better understanding, of what your charts are tracking and how you
Yeah.
can use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ajali. You can stop recording. I think that's all for tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right,
Yeah.
everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
so
your
much,
time.
Gigi.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good night.
You too. Thanks.
Everyone, good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night.
Good
Bye
night.
bye.
Good night.